welcome to my channel. Well, I haven't done a Fun Knife Friday in a while, and you know, with this Queen half Whittler, you're gonna say, well, what's so fun about that compared to all these other knives? Well, think about it. This is a half Whittler, a half wit. There's a half wit. It's a half wit knife. So it's a knife that you could give to somebody that you consider a half wit, but you want to insult them, but you don't want them to really know they're being insulted, you know, like a relative or something. So you got this half wit relative. It's Christmas time. You got to give them something, you know, or not. But you decide to give them a half Whittler, and you go, here you go. Here, I thought of you when I bought this knife. A half Whittler, half wit. I guess because they call it a half Whittler because you have, you know, like the main blade, and then on the other end you've got a pen blade. A full Whittler would have like 2 pen blades. This is a bigger one, but there you got. This is like 2 spay blades. I don't know. Well, that's a spay and a pen. This guy might be a stockman. He might be considered a stockman. Here's a marbles. Another, you know, weird configuration. You've got, you know, the clip blade, and then you've got 2 pen blades. Usually the spay blade and a pen blade. Sometimes they call these Whittlers. I don't know. Anyways, I was going to go dig it out, but I don't have an example of a Whittler, a full Whittler. But anyway, here's a half wit. And to me, I always just considered this kind of like, you know, it's a swell center, slightly. But I just considered this like a penknife, you know, or something. It just, I guess you'd just call it a jackknife, you know, just 2 different blades. You know, for me, whittling, there's a difference between whittling and carving. Whittling is just like removing material, you know. You're not really carving that much. You're just kind of like just sitting there. There's no real task other than make a pointy stick or something. Well, any knife could be a Whittler, you know, in that respect. When you start getting into carving and trying to make it look like something, well, you're going to probably need a shorter blade for a little bit more detailed, you know, up-close carving work. Finer point, you know, smaller blade, stuff like that. So, yeah, these... Now, here's a mini gripe. Smoky Mountain Knife Works recently changed their website, and I cannot find Queen Winterbottom bone knives on their site anymore. And it used to be, even if they didn't have the stuff, they would list it as out of stock, so you could still use. I mainly is using. I like their descriptions a lot of times, you know. But on this one, there is a gap that you can see daylight through on this liner right here, from right there. It basically goes through that whole thing there, but again, it's on the mainspring, so you know there's a difference between a gap between the liner and the bone cover. And these before, when they were made, they used Delrin. Now this one I've seen listed. It's almost like a Coke bottle shape. It's got a swell center. It's almost like a melon tester too, and some were listing that as a melon tester, and on eBay. So, and the number that I gave on that was like QN47WB or whatever, because Chicago Knife Works listed it as a red-handled synthetic. This is not synthetic. This is bone. This is not red. I mean, my eyesight's going, but I can usually tell the difference between red and not red. Even if I was blind, colorblind, I could tell the difference between red and not red. But, yeah, it's hard to find accurate listings for these things, but these are listed as half Whittlers. And Chicago Knife Works is where I find most of these, and they're like $11.69. So I mean, for $12, you can't beat this with a stick. I mean, it's just that good. Now, you may have to, you know, see the grind. They got too heavy here, and they got it a little narrow here and a little wider there. Look at any knife, you know, unless it was done by, you know, a machine. This is built by hand and all that. So this is pretty good, but still, it's hard to do that. Like on the Stockman I had, where now this is where it really takes some skill. Putting a convex edge on a small knife and keeping that tip looking decent. I kind of wonked out here because you on a belt sander, you don't want to go beyond half the belt width on that tip. If you do, it's going to start pushing it. It's going to start snub nosing it. And I like a clip point to look like a clip point, but I stopped while I was ahead with this because, man, metal comes on off fast when you're using a machine, and you're sitting there trying to lever it. But that's what it should look like, more of a little pointy tip, you know, than a snub nose. Of course, I haven't gotten to these, so they're going to be all right. But yeah, more of a pointy tip. And this guy's a kind of a spade, so it doesn't have to have a super pointy tip, but it's got one. You know, it's got a pointy tip on it. So, yeah, there you go. That's my. The humor is in the name, basically, of the knife, the half width. But as far as this one goes, while we're at it, we might as well semi-review it. It's got a decent little blade on it. Let's see if we can get it here. And we'll call that about a 2-inch cutting edge. If this guy would ever focus. Focus over here, you idiot. I don't know what it was focusing on. My eyes are blurry, but they're not that blurry. All right, we can call it 2 1/8 cutting edge, because, I mean, you know, you can give them that. Maybe 1/16, 2 1/16 cutting edge, to be precise. Well, if you want to be precise, you should be in centimoids, in millimeters. They have a better breakdown. They don't have to go into fractions to do it. All right, get it. Focus on that. What's wrong with this camera? It's freaking out. All right, how many centimoids? All right, we'll go with millimoids. 46, 47, let's say 48. 48 on your cutting edge. I don't know why we got all into that, but we did. And this guy's pretty decent, you know, pin blade look to it. Now, the springs on these are not, you know, super strong or anything like that. I put a little bit of oil in there. Sometimes, you know, if you've got it's got a nice half stop. Sometimes if you don't have a good snap like this one does, it's got a pretty good snap. Sometimes that improves if you put oil on the pivot, you know, because a lot of times they're shipped. See, this one's not quite as good, but it's got a good snap to it. That's your walk and talk. Talk to me. Walk, baby, walk. So yeah, decent. It's a decent knife. Now, I did have this is close right here. I did have a little bit of liner rub right here, because you look at these blades, man, they are packed in there tight. And it's a little bit proud. You can't come this way too much, or you're going to start hitting this guy. So yeah, it's a lot goes into making a pocket knife. That if you've never made one before, or if you've never seen how they are, and you're just sitting here being critical, this is a little bit not like that. Try putting one together. Try building one yourself, and by hand. Now, that's another thing. When they say built by hand, there are machines involved. I mean, it's not like this is a total hand forged type of thing. But as far as the edge goes and everything, let's get the weight here, because again, we didn't have decent weight. Earthquake. We didn't have decent weight on this. Nobody really tells you how many 1.57 ounces. The next one should be gram, right? No, it goes through that whole weird mode stuff. Get back. Grams. 44.6 grams. So it's not a heavy one. It's a nice. I turned off the video. I wanted to turn off the calculator. Well, it is calculating weight. The scale, I wanted to turn the scale off, and I turned off the video. But anyway, there you go. I've rambled on long enough. There's your weights. There's your measurements. And let's get its closed length just to stop bouncing. People are having a hard enough time following you. That you're bouncing around. 3.5 inch, I'd say. I call it 3.5 inch closed. And slender, too. It's a nice little slender shape compared to, say, a Stockman, you know, with the double spring. You just got that single mainspring back there, like this guy. But this one's just a little bit thicker because it's a bigger knife, like I said. So there you go. It's December. I haven't picked the knife out yet. I haven't gotten paid or anything for December's giveaway and stuff like that. But stay tuned for that. And man, the year went by pretty quickly. And we're going to be into 24, which looks like it also will be another interesting year to be alive on the planet Earth, if you can maintain all that. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day. Forgot, there's something odd about this knife that I don't think is intentional. You see that? You see that little hump up there? It looks like a liner lock and everything. I think they just forgot to finish it because on multi-bladed knives, the spacer, you know, in the middle acts, the liner in the middle acts like a spacer for the two blades. On this one, there is no liner in the middle, so they had to throw a spacer in somewhere. But look at that. I looked at it and I'm like, is that a secret liner lock, you know? I mean, is it going to lock the pin blade for you? But no, it's just odd. So if you ever do get one of these, look and see if yours has got this little hump right here. Which it looks like they just failed to grind it down. I was going to sand it down, and then I thought, you know what? No, this is different. So yeah, I mean, that might have made this one a unique knife. If not, if you see it on your, I'm just wondering why they left that there. It's probably, you know, it's a, you know, $11.69 for this knife. So there probably wasn't a lot of quality control going on, but there might have been some. It all depends, you know. The price of the knife is not what determines the quality of the knife a lot of times. It's the craftsman. It's the person putting it together. That's what determines the quality of the knife. It doesn't matter about the equipment, the machinery, and everything. How good is that person that's putting it together? And if they're slipping, you know, they fail to do something like this, I mean, it got through the final finish and everything. Maybe they just didn't notice it. But anyway, yeah, just a little thing there I want to throw in on that one. Just a little bit different. Yours might not have that feature, and if you don't, well, sorry, mine's unique, you know. You can take metal off, but it's a lot harder to put metal on and make it look like that. So, thank you for watching, and have a nice day.